Namaskar guys, I'm Neil and I welcome all of you to UPSC and you. In today's very short video, we're going to talk about three important things. For people who have seen my Sherlocking series before, would know that I keep emphasizing upon the need to focus on basic sources and revising them over and over again. Through this video, I'm going to very briefly touch upon the basic sources one needs to pay special emphasis to and the ones you really need to internalize well. Then we'll move forward and focus on something that has been much requested from a lot of students around us, which is how to analyze mock tests and how many mock tests to give. And is there a utility to giving mock tests at all? So I'm going to talk about mock tests and the utility in general. And finally, I'm going to close this session by very briefly talking about the mindset one needs to have at this point in time, given that you just have 70 to 75 days to go for the examination. So I'm certain if you stick around till the end of the video, this will add tremendous value to your preparation. Before we begin, this is a short about me section of sorts. For people who are joining me for the first time, I'm Neelkant Bharadwaj and I have been in the cycle for 5+ years now. I worked in mobile computing domain straight out of college and I have attempted this exam a total of 5 times. I have written 3 CSE mains, 1 IFOS mains and 1 HCS mains. As a matter of fact, I have cleared HCS 2021 and I have been allotted AEO. And I have also appeared in CSE interview 2022 and one more interview, IFOS interview 2022 is lined up next whenever UPSC decides to schedule it next. So let's come to the task at hand. Let's focus on basic sources. For me, you just need to stick to one source for one topic and then fill in the gaps using previous question analysis. And these are as simple sources, as you could get anywhere in the market. For history, ancient and medieval, you just need to focus on class 11th Tamil Nadu. That's it. For art and culture, you just need to stick to fine arts NCERT. And finally, for modern Indian history, you will just have to stick to spectrum. Going beyond these sources will have a very poor return on interest at this point in time. If there's a topic which is not comprehensively covered in these 3 sources and has been repeatedly asked by the commission in their prelims, you should just selectively Google it. Based on the theme that has explicitly come in the examination hall. Additionally, for history, you should certainly purchase this book, Lucent for GK. And this is important for revising the trivia because sometimes in NCERTs or in Tamil Nadu books, they usually form a coherent story-like narrative. So memorizing facts is a challenge because you need to keep identifying the pages in which you would have those snippets of facts lying around. On the other hand, in Lucent, you have a compendium of trivial information that you could keep skimming through every day and memorize it over the next 70 days or so. Next up is polity. For polity, I mean Lakshmikant, I believe, is the Bible for polity. Just do it really well. Pay special emphasis to Article 1 to 51 and legislature. And so this component should be internalized. I mean, there should be no 2 opinions about it. Anything outside the bounds of these 2 topics, you can do a cursory analysis of it and then use elimination or analyze previous questions to see the kind of themes UPSC is focusing on. Next up is geography. For geography, you just need to focus on 11th and 12th NCERTs. Sometimes these NCERTs are difficult to understand, so you could selectively take the help of YouTube to understand certain topics really well. Just Google. I don't have a specific channel in my mind. Sometimes, some videos are better on one channel, certain videos are better on another channel. So don't stick to one channel. Stick to using class 11th and 12th NCERTs as an index. Do them comprehensively. And if there's a topic you have doubt in, which is going to happen because geography is a little technical subject, go to YouTube for assistance. And finally, I think we come to environment and science and tech. My mindset is really different, as far as environment and science and tech is concerned. I personally don't think you need to read anything for science and tech, not even NCERTs, because the return on investment is really poor. And for environment, I think Shankar has now gone beyond giving you a good return on investment. I had my IFOS mains this year, and when I was reading for forestry the first time, I realized this book, which is released by Shankar IS, is not for environment, but is for forestry. It is so comprehensive that you don't need all of that information for environment and ecology for UPSC. So I would recommend that you can skip it. If you have read it, well and good. It's difficult to revise it. So just focus on previous question themes and 18-month current affairs. That's it. Let's say if they're asking about wetlands. So just memorize wetlands somehow. If you want to memorize wetlands with me, I have put out a video using mnemonics. I'll put the link on the top right section. You can go have a look. And that is what you should do for science and tech too, because they are not asking too technical questions. If you go look at the previous question themes, you would realize what I'm trying to convey. And finally, we come to economics. For economics, you just need to stick to 11th and 12th NCRTs, and then you can supplement it with, Mrunal sir's free win series, the latest version. Go to the latest version. I think you will go to his channel and you'll find the details. This is by far the most basic requirement that one needs to fulfill to appear in the examination. These sources should be internalized. I mean, if a question comes from these sources, you should have a hit rate of over 90 to 95%. If there's a theme which is not covered in these topics and is asked in previous questions, just selectively Google it instead of going for another book altogether. That will not have good returns on investment in the long run. I've been in the cycle for 5+ years, so I can only tell you what I've learned from my experience, so that you don't end up making the same mistakes that I did. And so fill gaps with previous question analysis. You can either analyze those previous questions yourself. You can take the hint from the free video series I have taken out. I have thoroughly analyzed 2022 prelims paper. I'll put the link on the top right section. You can go have a look. Or if you want to analyze previous questions from 2011 to 2021 on the lines of how I have analyzed 2022, you can enroll in this course that I'm running. I will put the link of the orientation video also in the top right section in case you're interested. Otherwise, you can always go have a look at the free videos and do the analysis yourself. But previous year question analysis is a must. There are no two opinions about it. Finally, you need to understand that CSAT has been a dream killer of late for a lot of people. A lot of my friends, despite performing really well in GS, are not able to appear in mains because of CSAT occasionally pulling them down. And for that, you need to ensure that you analyze last 4-year previous questions thoroughly. That is it. You don't need to go for any separate book to learn how to perform better in CSAT. If you want to learn how to solve comprehension questions from me, I have put out some free videos on my channel. I'll put again the link on the top right section. And if you want to analyze more and enroll in the course, you can go to the video link. I'll put the link. Let's come to, I think, the most important part of the video now. Let's speak about mock tests. And what is the reality, how to analyze them, do you really need to give them in the first place? So for one, I have realized the mock test, the quality was really good in 18, 19, but since 20, the quality has suddenly plummeted. And for people who've been in the cycle for at least 2-3 years would completely affirm to this opinion. In my opinion, fear is the best salesperson, or fear or insecurity is the best salesperson rather. And I believe that sometimes the reason why such difficult questions or such obscure questions are made in the series is to put this fear psychosis inside students, so that then they enroll, or they feel insecure, or they think that they need somebody's assistance, which is good at times. If you need assistance, you should certainly seek it, but that need for assistance should not be generated by someone who has a conflict of interest. And why I'm very particular about it is because of the fact that I failed prelims in my first attempt 2018. In 2019, I cleared prelims. I missed getting the interview call by a few marks. And then my third attempt, I again failed prelims. In my third attempt 2020, why I failed prelims was not because of lack of knowledge, but because I was overdoing mocks and I was overemphasizing on mocks. And performing well in mocks became an end in itself. And I was performing well in most of the mocks I was enrolled in. And yet I ended up failing prelims 2020 because I got most of the easy questions incorrect, questions in which you have to apply logic and common sense. I got into a zone due to overemphasizing on mocks, wherein I started believing you need to know everything. And that costed me a lot. And the reason is fairly simple. The mocks that the institutes come out with, they focus on heuristics. I mean, there's a better word in Hindi that I certainly want to know. It is called baal ki khal nikalna. That is what the mocks focus on. On the other hand, UPSC, the commission focuses on simplicity. So both are antithetical to one another, and that is why I need to focus more on previous questions. But if that is the case, do I really need to give mocks in the first place? That is a valid question one might have. And solution for me is fairly simple. Sectional mocks are for revision. Let's say you want to revise polity, but you're bored. You don't want to go read Lakshmikant again. So instead of reading to the Lakshmikant, you take a sectional paper, you solve it, it's going to be encouraging, it's going to be enriching, but ensure that you score over 100 marks in a sectional. If you're scoring beneath 100 in a sectional, that means your basic knowledge is lacking. You need to go back to the sources I have mentioned, and then you need to hone your craft up to a certain level. If you're scoring 100 plus in a sectional test, you're good to go. That means your revision is up to the mark. And sometimes, after doing a sectional, if you feel that you were not able to perform, let's say, well in legislature, so then you're more inclined to read legislature without getting bored. Otherwise, after 2-3 revisions, it gets really boring to revise the same things over and over again. And that is where sectional mock tests come to our rescue. What about full-length tests? For me, FLTs at this point in time, given the stark deterioration, the sudden deterioration in the quality of most of the mocks, in my personal opinion, FLTs right now, the role is curtailed to one, sitting 2 hours continuously, because if you're not used to sitting 2 hours continuously, usually people lose their focus by the 1 hour mark. And that is where most of the battles are lost in the examination hall. So you need to train your mind at least 5 or 6 times to sit for 2 hours and to focus on the paper, no matter what the distractions are. Maybe somebody is watching the television in the house, maybe your neighbors are being loud, maybe something else is calling for your attention. But how you stay focused in those 2 hours is going to dictate how you perform well when you sit in the examination hall for 2 hours. And secondly, the second role is in filling OMR sheets. So even when you're giving a full-length test mock online, always keep an OMR sheet handy and ensure that you're practicing filling OMR sheet at least 7-8 times before you go in the examination hall, because a lot of people make the mistake of filling the wrong bubble. They may be, this is, let's say they were question 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, 12, 13, and they wanted to mark, C for 12, but they mark C for 11, and they mark D for 12, and then everything is shifted by a single question, and then your year is gone. And I've heard a lot of tragedies like that firsthand. So I know, filling OMR is a necessity. You need to practice it. Don't take it lightly. It might sound silly. It might sound as if, I'm trying to, spoon feed you. But I'll assure you, this is not a trivial matter. A lot of people miss filling up OMR sheet in the examination hall, and they could have easily cleared the cutoff if not for the mistake they made while filling OMR. So be very categorical about it. Use FLTs as a tool to sit for 2 hours continuously, one, and to fill OMR sheet correctly. There should be no mismatch in that translation. If you're getting 80% questions correct in your attempt in your question paper, that 80% should be reflected in the OMR sheet also. That is the only way you're going to clear the cutoff with the competitive, landscape we find ourselves in. How many FLTs? In my opinion, 6 to 8 is enough. Now, there are 2 caveats. Ensure in the last 10 days, you're not giving any mock test, because they are completely, as I said, focusing on hair splittery. On the other hand, UPSC focuses on simplicity. There's a mismatch. If you tune your mind to commit itself to hair splittery, you're going to mess your attempt up. I assure you, because I messed my 2020 attempt because of this. I could have easily cleared that prelims, but I could not. And in the last 10 days, you have to focus only on previous year question revision. I would repeat, you could either do it yourself or you could do it with me. Either watch my free videos or you can enroll in the course if you think it adds value in your life. Some people come to me and they tell me that, they're really insecure in the fact that they think 6 to 8 mocks are not enough. And I tell them that, prelims also is a game of mindset. Unless you feel confident from inside, you can't perform on the examination day. And let's say to feel that confidence, you want to appear in 10 to 12 FLTs. So be it. Don't be very dogmatic about it. So ideally, I think 6 to 8 should be enough. But if it gives you more confidence, or if it helps you elevate your insecurity, give as many FLTs as possible, but don't let it become an end in itself. Make sure in the last 10 days, you're not giving any FLT at all. I'm being very categorical about it. And I hope you don't have to learn it the hard way like I did. So 10 to 10, 6 to 8 FLTs are enough. If giving more gives you confidence and makes you elevate that insecurity, give as many as you want. Then I'm not the right judge for it. Ask yourself how many mocks make you comfortable. But at least 6 to 8 are essential to sit for 2 hours and to fill the OMR. And, but exercise caution. Know that mocks focus on hair splittery, UPSC focuses on simplicity. So that is about it. I'm going to tell you about the analysis. how to effectively analyze the mocks. That is, I have developed this system over last 3-4 years, and this has given me tremendous returns. So I will make 4 categories: category 1, category 2, category 3, category 4, and I mark these categories. I make a note of these categories while I'm attempting the mock. How will I do it? I will mark category 4 in a question which I am 100% sure with my life. I can bet my life on that question, that 100% without doubt this question is going to be correct. I mark that category as number 4. Category number 3 is where I know 70-80% this is going to be correct, but there's certain element of doubt, or maybe I'm stuck in a 50-50, but I am leaning, maybe it's a 50-50 on paper, but inside my head I know 80% chances are, B is going to be the correct answer. I mark B, I mark it as category 3. So category 3 questions are the ones where I'm very sure but not 100% confident. Could be incorrect, very low chances. Category 2 is entire 50-50. Like I have no reason to pick one over the other, then I'm going to use some logic, some heuristic, and then I see how well my guesswork works. And number 1 ideally should be completely absent, but number 1 are where I take a blind guess, where just based on a hunch, without any adequate reason, I mark. And then I make a note of all these 4 categories across all the questions that I attempt. This is, the first part of the analysis. Then second part of the analysis, even the questions that I do not attempt, I just make a slight mark in the question paper that if I were to attempt it, what would I pick as the answer? I don't know if I have to take a blind guess, I'll take a blind guess, because anyway, I'm not attempting that question, but I will anyway pick an option. If I were to make a choice, what would I pick? This is something I do. And then in the end, I'll make an analysis sheet. I also made some Excel sheets in the past. I was not able to find them. Probably I deleted them. But you can make an Excel sheet based out of it, and I'll show you how also very shortly. I'll show you the final analysis too. So I'll repeat. First of all, while doing the questions, I'll make 4 categories: category 1, 2, 3, 4. Category 4 is the one where I'm 100% sure I can bet my life. Category 3 is where I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 70-80% leaning towards one of the options. Maybe I'm stuck in 50-50, but I am leaning more towards one option. Category 2 is where it's a pure 50-50, and category 1 is a blind guess. I really don't take a blind guess, but still, for the sake of analysis, I make all those 4 categories. Then let's say, so this was back in 2019, I guess, or 20. So this was category number 2. This means I was stuck between B and C, and then I added one more layer to it. So 3 was what my mind was pushing me towards, and C was what my hunch or my heart was pushing me towards. And this was a consistent pattern. My hunch was always letting me down. My logic, so this was a sign for logic, sign for brain. This was a sign for heart, which is hunch. And I realized that if you're stuck in a 50-50, always follow logic than a pure hunch. A hunch doesn't have a basis. In Hindi, it is called आवाज आ रही है दिल से. अगर दिल से आवाज आ रही है किसी ऑप्शन के लिए, don't mark it. Mark an option based on a logical backing, and that logical backing will never let you down. So this is how I realized that pattern. Now, question number 63 was a category 4. I could have bet my life on the fact that answer was B, turned out to be the right answer. Then I see how many of these were right. So this was correct. This was correct. There's another question. So this is category 2, marked incorrectly. Category 2, marked incorrectly. Category 3, marked correctly. Category 2, marked incorrectly. Category 2, marked correctly. Category 2, marked correctly. You can have a look, right? And then I'll make an Excel out of it. I think category 2 marked incorrectly. I'll make a note sheet, and this is how the note sheet would look. I hope it is visible to all of you, right? So I'll make category number 4, 3, 2. I didn't have any category 1 at all because I don't take a blind guess. I have made it a point. I will intend to attempt as many as I can without taking a blind guess. Attempted, how many I attempted in that category, how many were correct, what is the accuracy percentage, and then I have a marker in my head. So this should be 100% accurate, which was the case. I attempted 18 were correct, I had 100% accuracy. Category 3, 16 attempted, 13 correct, a bad hit rate. I intend to have at least 90% accuracy here. So now I knew that, maybe I need to be more confident or more decisive, or maybe, I was putting a category 2 under category C. So I need to improve my self-awareness. I need to be more sure of what I know and what I do not know. Lesson category 2, I attempted 52, 32 was correct, 62% accuracy. I want at least 65% plus accuracy, so I was falling short by 1 or 2 questions, but not a bad hit rate. In total, I attempted 86, 63 correct, total 74% accuracy. And now I do a mistake analysis. I go back and see why I got the questions incorrect, the ones that I got incorrect. So this has a qualifier into 4, into 3, into 2, into 1. So the one which are into 1 are acceptable. If you don't have an information, you're stuck with 50-50, you have to attempt it, right? It's okay. If you know a concept, but you're not able to apply it, it is a bigger sin. So to improve it, I'm giving it a qualifier, a marker of number 2. So I will multiply it with 2. I made it a factor. If you are taking a blind guess and making it incorrect, it is a more graver sin. It's a graver sin. So this is going to be amplified by a factor of 3 in my head. So this is a mathematical model that I made. And if you're making a silly mistake, that is a cardinal sin. You can't come back from it. This is one of those questions where you could have gotten a +2, but now you're getting a minus 0.67. So losing out on minus 2.67. Here you could have lived with a 0, but you're getting a minus 0.67. So you have a deficit of minus 0.67 already. Here, these are acceptable. Sometimes you won't be able to apply in the examination hall, but make it a point. This number is not too huge. I would repeat. First, I make 4 categories. Then I analyze how many I attempted, how many I got correct, how accurate I was. And then I'll see the level of my self-awareness and how well I have performed. Then I will analyze my mistakes. How? I give a multiplication factor, lack of information. If I'm making a question incorrect due to lack of information, it is acceptable. I'm not supposed to know everything. So that has a X factor of 1. This has a X factor of 2. Lack of application is a bigger sin, but फिर भी acceptable. Blind guess is not acceptable because otherwise you would not have attempted, would have gotten a 0. Now you're getting a minus 0.67, negative of 0.67. Biggest, the most cardinal sin of all time. You would have gotten +2 if not for the silly mistake. Now you're getting minus 0.67. You're at a loss of a total of minus 2.67. And then so let's say there were a total of 18 such questions. 18x1 is equal to 18. Here, total of 5 mistakes. So 5x2, 10. 0, 0. So this was a good attempt. Total, the mistake questioned, MQ, mistake analysis, mistake question turned out to be 18 plus 20, 18 plus 10, 28. And my parameter is this should be less than 30. Anecdotally, I realized that if it goes above 30, I am raking in a lot of negatives. I don't want this to happen. So you can create your own index, you can create your own question, but this is the one that I came up with. I shared it with a lot of my friends and they were helped a lot. And that is why I thought this can add value in your life. Then finally, the third layer of analysis is finding out how much I could have scored so that I stay motivated. So there were total 5 questions I could have gotten correct with slight tweaks, maybe better application, or maybe there was an information I was not able to recollect. Total question 2, question 4, 34, 62, 79, 5. So best case would have been 124, 5 into 2.67. This was the additional score I could have gotten. And then I would divide the score I have gotten with the best case, and this is the efficiency, good efficiency. You will never get a 100% accuracy. Anything over 85% is acceptable. And then I also told you in the end, there would be questions I would not attempt, but I would anyway, mark an option in front of them that if I were to attempt one of these, what would that option be? So I say out of those questions, total I think 14 questions were unattempted. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 of these correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 incorrect. Total 10 unattempted. So 4 into 2 minus 6 into 2 by 3 is equal to +4. So weirdly, that is where I realized that if I were to attempt all 10 of those also and would have gone with a hunch, I would have ended up with a positive score, with a net positive score, of +4. So I could have scored 128 also on a different day. And that is why my risk appetite grew, that I was able to take logical guesses really well. And this analysis, so maybe to some of you who are not used to analyzing it exhaustively, this might seem going for an overkill. But I assure you, if you just do this analysis and do this for full-length tests, if you do this analysis for 6 to 8 FLTs, your self-awareness will go through the roof. In India, you would be much ahead of the competition in the entire nation, I assure you. And this is the reason why I was able to improve so much. This is why I attempt now more and more questions. I'm more confident in my abilities because now I have data to back the fact that I have good guesswork. I have data to back that, when I am certain of a question, I always get a 100% accuracy. focus on evidence-based policy making. I mean, this is essential not only in governance but also in the way you approach this examination, right? I am certain if you do this, do this for 2 or 3 papers, come back to me either in my Telegram group or in the comment section, and I can assure you see the benefit for yourself, completely 100% guaranteed. And I'm going to take 100% accountability of this, the effectiveness of this method. It is not an overkill at all, and this will pay you dividends. That is why analyzing one single paper used to take me, giving it would take me 2 hours, and then analyzing it and everything would take me 4 hours or so. It's a 6-hour job for me, but this had tremendous returns for me. That is why I strongly encourage you to do it. This was about analyzing the mocks. Finally, coming to the mindset component, what is the kind of mindset you need to have at this point in time? Firstly, you need to anchor your expectations really well, in the sense that you should not let perfection be the enemy of sufficing. So this is a beautiful curve I came across, a beautiful graph. And you start with imperfection, you want to become perfect, time and effort expended, but after a certain point in time, the return on investment is not huge. So here, this is the time you spend to become this much better. But to improve by this level, you need to expend an equal amount of work. This is, similar to 80-20% principle. So 20% work gets you 80% of the return. So focus on that 20% work. Expectation anchoring is important. Maybe you want to get all the questions from polity correct. That is never going to happen. Be rest assured. So don't run behind getting those 2 extra polity questions correct. Rather focus on how you can maximize your attempt even from questions that need an application of common sense. Right? Don't get pigeonholed in one certain topic. Anchor your expectations. Know that you will never accomplish a 100% hit rate ever in any topic. Live with that. Embrace that. And finally, this is the most important curve, I think, as far as aspirants for CSE is concerned. It speaks about, how much focused, how much troubled, how much arousal you should have in terms of, anchoring that focus in clearing the exam. So this is empirically proven that if you have very low motivation, or if you're really low arousal, you're not going to feel really motivated about it. And you're fatigued, you think it is unimportant, and which will not get you to clear the exam. On the other hand, if you reach the other end of the spectrum, right, if you are terribly stressed, if you're really anxious, and if you really make this exam the be-all end-all, I think even in that case, the performance would still be poor. So it's a matter of finding that sweet spot. It's a matter of being anxious to the right level. This exam is certainly important. We are expending crucial, years of our youth in clearing the exam. But be rest assured, troubling yourself too much, getting stressed too much will not serve dividends. Rather, it will have ramifications which will cause a decrease in your effectiveness. So ensure that, being troubled to a certain level, having certain level of anxiety, I think is acceptable. It is normal. And you need to keep reminding yourself that everybody, whosoever is sitting in the examination is going through the same. So focus just on giving your best and leave the rest to, whatever you believe in, whether you believe in an almighty, whether you believe in the nature, whether you believe in your efforts, just leave the rest to that and just focus on your end of the bargain. Because if you trouble yourself too much, if you have so much self-doubt, it will only impair your performance. I think that is the thought I'd want to leave you with. If you have any follow-up queries, feel free to engage with me in the comment section or go to my Telegram channel. I put the link in the description box. If you want me to address any more such similar issues, leave your feedback or your suggestion again either in the comment box or go to the Telegram channel and make your opinion heard. I think that is it. If you want to see more of my work, you can subscribe to the channel. You can go watch the rest of my videos or join the channel where you see more of what I do day to day for students at large. That is it. I am certain if you follow these principles really well, for one, if you stick to basic sources, for two, if you analyze the mocks really well, and number three, if you keep your mindset, if you anchor it to the right level, you're going to get tremendous returns. And I assure you, come back to me to tell me how you found the video, whether you could apply these principles on ground, and what was the impact you felt. Thanks a lot. I'm going to wish you the best for the coming days. I know you're going to do tremendously well, and I'm going to talk to you really, really soon. Take care and bye.